Good evening, everyone. Welcome to your Thursday night yin practice with Becca, with Nature Healing by Becca. So this evening's practice, we're focusing on our hips and hamstrings. So what you need in terms of props are a bolster or a bolster equivalent. So you can use pillows, cushions, something. Be creative within the house, and then also a strap or strap equivalent. So you could use a belt, a dressing gown tie, a thin scarf, and then a blanket and two blocks or block equivalents. So maybe if you don't have blocks, then thick books, something that's sturdy enough that's going to take your weight. And as always, just listen to your body. So if you're working with injuries, any restrictions, limitations within the body, then please do listen to your body. You know your body best. So if there's anything that doesn't feel right this evening, then please avoid it. And I will be guiding you through various setups, various modifications too. In terms of the yin style, if you are new to practicing yin, then it's a slower paced style of yoga and it originates from China. And it's basically we hold the poses for a longer time. So with your traditional vinyasa styles, your power flows, it's a quicker pace, whereas this we hold the poses from anything from 2 even up to 10, 11 minutes, but we won't be doing those longer holds this evening. They can be quite challenging. And then also the breath is really vital in terms of the yin. To help calm the mind. The yin practice works on the connective tissue, opening connective tissue and fascia, which can cause tightness within the body. So we're by opening. It's a cooling practice, so the body needs to be cooled to get the benefits and the deeper work through the yin, through the fascia and the connective tissue. But also other benefits are improving circulation. We focus on the breath, so that's always a benefit. Improve flexibility because we do work with the fascia, but also it's just a chance to slow everything down. Slow down the day, slow down your physical body and also your mental, emotional bodies too. So in the yin, we want to work with discomfort, not pain ever, in any style of yoga practice, but discomfort, yes. So that's then down to you to distinguish between what is pain and what is discomfort. So discomfort can be tightness, a little pull, whereas your pain is your pinching, your shooting pain, your stinging pain, and nerve referrals. So just listen to your body, and if in doubt, come out. Okay, so we'll start on our backs this evening with a bolster or a pillow underneath the knees. So when you're ready, coming down onto your back, we'll start tuning into the breath. So bringing the arms down beside you, with the palms facing up, and bring the legs roughly a little bit wider than hip width distance, and the hands roughly max width distance. So we've got this lovely space for the body just to soften and settle down this evening. So working towards the end of our working week, a really nice way just to calm everything down, turn inwards and focus on the breath. So just finding a few moments here to make any little adjustments so that you can come to total stillness, relaxation here this evening. And then start scanning the body. So noticing any areas that you're holding on to, where can you release and let go? So I like to start at my toes, working my way up, but you can start anywhere you want, just bringing your awareness internally, tuning into the physical body. And then using the breath to help let go. So connecting to our breath, breathing in for a count of 4 through the nose, feel the belly rise on the inhale. And then exhale for a count of 5 or 6, softening the belly, releasing through the nose. And every exhale, feel that you're releasing, surrendering yourself to the earth. Good. Again, inhale through the nose for 4. Exhale through the nose for 5 or 6. Inhale. Good, just a few more breaths here. Good. And on your next inhale, reach the arms up overhead. Give yourself a full body stretch. Maybe point and flex the feet. Good. Maybe take some little ankle circles, just easing into those ankle joints. Good. And then hug the knees in towards the chest. Give yourself a big hug. And then just gently take the hips side to side, easing any tension through that back. Good. And then pause and come to stillness. So we're going to start with coming into a gentle twist, just coming through the spine. So bringing your bolster to the left-hand side. Arms are either cactus, goal-posted, or out to the side. And then we're going to lift the hip, the knees over the hip. Bring a gentle shuffle to the right with the hips, and then allow the knees to come over to the left onto the bolster. So we want to try and keep the right shoulder down. The legs are softening down. Just for a moment, keep the gaze up towards the ceiling. Closing the eyes. Just tuning into the breath here. So deep breath in through the nose. Allow the sense of expansion through the belly. And then exhale through the nose. Release, soften, surrender. Again. Inhale. Exhale. Two more breaths here. Good. Inhale to draw the legs back to center. Release the knees down. Just take a moment to pause as you centralize your spine in the middle of the mat. And then take the bolster to the right. Good. Come to the arm position of your choice. Bring the knees over the hips. Take a little adjustment to the left and then allow the knees over to the right. Good. Surrendering the knees down. So just scanning the hips here, the inner thighs, the knees, because often when we're in these positions, we can hold subconscious, unconscious tension in our hips. So just think about allowing everything go. Breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. Every time you breathe out, you exhale. Think about the legs becoming heavier and heavier. Gazing up. Neck is soft, shoulders are soft. Good, 2 more breaths here. Nice, well done. And then draw the knees back to center. Release the hips into the center of the mat. Okay, so we need our struts in just a moment, maybe even for this pose here. So just listen to your body. We're going to come into our half happy baby. So you can also use the bolster here, So keep the left leg long. We're going to have the right knee in towards the chest and then take hold of the outer edge of the right foot. You can support the knee on the bolster. If you're finding tension creeping into the shoulders, the chest starts broadening, you can also use a strap around the ball of the foot. This just makes it a little bit more accessible without creating that tension through the neck and the shoulders. And then soften here, breathing into the hips. Good. So use the inhale to create that space. The exhale releases, let goes. The left leg is soft. Try to bring as much ease into the right hand as possible, especially if you've got the strap. Often we can clench on almost like for dear life, but try to bring a little bit of a release to that hold. Good. 2 more breaths here. Nice. And then we're going to bring the knee back to center, and then if you haven't got the strap around the foot, take the strap around the foot, and then lengthen the left leg up. So we're opening into our hamstrings now. So take the strap as long as you can so that the elbows soften down onto the mat. Have a little flex of the foot. We want to feel a little bit of discomfort, excuse me, opening in the back of the leg, but we don't want the breath to be staggered and we don't want the leg to be shaking. So just take the breath up the back of the leg, wherever you're feeling it. Close the eyes, come to that natural steady breath, in through the nose and out through the nose. We don't want to force the body in any way here. Just checking in with the neck, the jaw, the shoulders, also keeping that connection to the breath. And then being at ease in those times of silence. The mind starts wandering, use the breath to bring it back. So inhale for 4, exhale for 5 or 6. Good, 5 more breaths here. Good. And then we're going to take the bolster to the right hand side. Just make sure you've got enough space here. And then what we're going to do is take the strap into the right hand and then allow the right leg to open out to the right until it comes to rest on the bolster. You might need to prop your bolster up on blocks or your blanket as well to add a little bit of height. So we want the leg to be resting on something, the left hip to be rooted down, the left shoulder to be rooted down. And then take the breath through the inner thigh, creating that space. Good. Close the eyes and just find that softness here. You can completely soften your grip here because your leg is supported by the bolster. In through the nose and out through the nose. Good. 5 more breaths here. Belly breathing, so the belly rises first as we inhale, and then soften as we exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more breath here. Good. Then bend that right knee. As you gently draw the knee back to center, release the right leg down. Good. Then bend the left knee and just pause here for a moment, neutralizing the spine with both knees bent before we come to the other side. Good. Lengthen the right leg along the mat, taking your bolster to the left hand side. Your strap to the left. Good. Hug the left knee in towards the chest. And then maybe reaching for the outer edge of the foot, or take the strap, as you may want to place the bolster underneath the left knee, coming into our happy baby to the left. So just be mindful that we're easing any tension out of the neck, the shoulders, the chest is broad, the right leg is soft, and take the breath in and around the left hip. So wherever you're feeling it, you may feel a little bit in the back of the leg, the outer hip, the inner hip. Just listen to the body, close the eyes, and connect to the breath. Good. In through the nose and out through the nose. Good. 5 more breaths here. Where can you create more ease and softness within the pose? Where can you ease any resistance? One more breath here. Good. Then draw the thigh back towards the chest, taking the strap. And the strap comes along around the ball of the foot. Good. Maybe move the bolster a little bit further out. And then coming into the hamstrings. So keeping the shoulders nice and soft, the elbows down to the mat, foot is slightly flexed, breathing up the back of the left leg. Close the eyes, easing any tension in the jaw. Right leg is soft. So yin is a really great complement to your strength-based flows, your strength-based classes. So your Bikram, your vinyasa, power, that works strengthening the muscles, and then this helps releasing through the fascia and the connective tissue. Good. 5 more breaths here. One last breath, noticing any shifts. Good. Then take the strap into the left hand. Allow the left leg to open out to the side, either onto the bolster, any props. Use the height. If you're super open, then you couldn't even place a foot on a block, but sometimes it's better, especially if you're more open, to ease out a little bit rather than just pulling through the joints. You can even let the strap go. To be in total, so we're passive here, not pushing, not going to our end range. Good, 5 more breaths here. Allow that belly to rise as you inhale. Last breath. Good, and then bend that left knee as you draw the leg back to center. Release the strap. Good. And then we're going to roll to one side, press ourselves up, getting ready for our reclined butterfly. So various options here with the props. So most important thing is that you listen to your lower back here. So options are, you can, if you know you're tight and you have lower back issues, then bring one block or one of your props on the tall setting at the top of the mat, and then the other one on the medium setting, and then rest the bolster at an angle. You can also only use one block at a medium setting, which just reduces that angle. And if you're totally okay with your lower back, then you can bring the bolster flat. So wherever you're choosing to go, bring the tailbone to the end of the mat, to the end of the bolster, and then slowly bring the upper body down. So we're resting. So not a little bit of a heart opener here. If the bolster is flat, then you're going to come into more of a heart opener. And then what we're going to do is we can either keep the knees bent, the legs out long, or if you want to work a little bit deeper into the hips, as it is a hips and hamstrings opener class this evening, you can bring the soles of the feet together and open the knees out wide. This can be a little bit intense for some people, especially if you've got lower back issues, you're tight for your chest. So just listen to the body. The options are there, so take what feels good for you. And then the arms down beside you with the palms facing up. Excuse me. Close down the eyes. And then come to that neutral, normal breath. So in through the nose with the belly rising. And then exhale through the nose to release and soften. So if you're in the pose with the feet together and the knees open, we're opening into the hips, the abdomen, the heart, softening the shoulders. Good, and just allow the body to melt here. Melt into the mat. Easy breath in through the nose and easy exhale through the nose. So keeping that breath connection. This is one of our longest poses, longest held poses of the evening. Just come to that easy, natural breath and allow the body to soften. Try to bring the mind back if it wanders, using the breath. And then here you can scan the body. Where can you consciously let go of any areas that you're holding on to? Good. Try to avoid any fidgets and know that wherever you are, this is temporary. Of course, if you're in pain and you have to move, then please do so. But if it's not pain and you're feeling just a little bit of uncomfort, ask yourself first if this is my physical body or my mental body asking me to move. Five more breaths here. Last breath. Good. And then take the hands outside the knees, gently guide the knees up towards the ceiling, plant the feet down, and just pause here for a moment. Allow any shifts, adjustments to happen within the hips. Good. 2 more breaths here. And slowly roll to one side, pressing yourself up. Good. So we're going to come to our half frog pose. So actually, before we do that, we're going to come to our malasana. So use your bolster or any props. And this is our Hindu squat. So I'll face you to do this. So bring the feet wide with the toes out, the heels in. And then come to sit down onto your bolster or your pillow or anything else. You can also use hold the blocks up to get a little bit more height if you need to get your comfort, and then bring the palms to touch the middle of the heart center and use the elbows to encourage the knees to open out. So our tailbone is supported, our glutes are supported, our weight supported. We've just got that opening through the inner thighs, the inner groin area. Closing the eyes and softening here. Soften the shoulders away from the ears. The teeth gently part away from each other. But we've got this deep belly breathing. Visualizing that you've got roots growing out through the soles of your feet, anchoring you into the earth, grounding you down, stabilizing you, bringing an element of heaviness. Good. Just here for a little bit longer, breathing into the pose, finding that ease. To restore a lot of tension in the hips, combination of physical, sitting at a desk for long periods, driving, emotional and mental. So if anything's coming up, anything's arising, try to sit with it, acknowledge it, but not attach yourself to it. Allow any feelings to come up, to rise. And just be there with them. Good, 5 more breaths. Last breath here. Good, and release the hand gently. Heel toe the feet back to center. Just pause here for a moment. Good. 2 more breaths here. Good. Then coming off the bolster, making our way down onto our tummies. So here you'll need perhaps a block and a blanket. So have them to hand to the right hand side, as that's the side that we're going to be starting with. And then coming down onto your belly. And what we're going to do is create a pillow with one hand on top of the other for the forehead to rest down on. And then keeping the left leg long, we're going to bend the right knee and bring the leg out to the side. So the foot is facing towards the side. And ideally here we want a right angle. So the right knee in line with the hip and then the ankle in line with the knee. I find it personally uncomfortable with my knee directly onto the wooden floor. So if you've got carpet, then you may be okay. Or you can put a blanket underneath the knee. If you're very open in your hips, you can also place a block underneath that knee, but what we want is the ankle to stay in contact with the mat. So if you're having to lift the ankle off to get the height, then regress to a lower option, okay? So wherever you are finding your comfort, you can also use the blanket on top of your props to give it a little softer surface. Okay, so when you're ready, coming down, bringing your head down to your forehead, easing into that inner right thigh. Softening the shoulders, neck. And as you breathe in, visualizing this expansion through the back of the body. Imagining the lungs filling up like a pair of balloons, creating as much space, as much air within these balloons as possible, and then the air exhale softens and releases the body. Good. So continuing that breath, visualizing you're breathing into the lungs, but coming to silence and being at ease in that silence. The elbows are soft, the wrists are soft, the knees are surrendering. Taking the pressure out of the body. Taking that feeling of control out of the body. Just allow the body to be here on this mat. At total ease. Good, 5 more breaths here. Last breath. Good, and gently slide the right leg off of the props, bring it back underneath the hip, and then just pause here for a moment. Take your props to the left-hand side, allow the spine to neutralize. Good, and then coming to the left. So bring that left knee out at an angle, roughly 90 degrees, as we start opening into the hips, softening the knee down, and then bringing the forehead down. Keep the right leg soft and long. Shoulders nice and soft. Easing any tension through the jaw. Becoming heavier and heavier. Five more breaths here. One more breath. Good, and gently glide the left leg back underneath the hips. Pause here. Good, and then bring the hands underneath the shoulders, pressing onto your hands and knees. And we're just going to come to a brief restorative child's pose just to ease through the lower back. So send the hips back onto the heels, bring the arms down beside you as you gently bring the forehead down, either to the mat or a blanket. Feeling that opening over the lower back, shoulders are softening down to the mat. Good, feeling the belly breathe and rise into the thighs. Good, 2 more breaths here. Good, then bring the hands underneath the shoulders as you press yourself up. Okay, so for our peak pose of the evening, our frog pose. So here we're going to pretty much use every prop that we have. So listen to the hips, listen to the knees and the ankles too. So what you can do is you can ankle the bolster up. And then what we want to do is come to your all fours. You can use the blankets underneath the knees for some cushioning. And also it adds a little bit of height. So what we want to do is come to all fours, turn the toes out to the sides, and then slowly walk the legs out. So you may be here, and this is fine, with the knees a little bit closer. You can also bring the soles of the toes together and then come down here. Or just be mindful of how far you go out and then send the hips back. So the further the hips are back, the more intense it is. The higher and more forward you are, the less intense it is. So just listen to the body. But if you're open in your hips, then think about the ankles being underneath the knees and the hips, the knees being in line with the hips. So similar to our half frog, but just we're doing it both sides. And just be careful that you don't over round through the lower back. So draw the bolster in closer to you, so you're supporting. Good. And then coming down. Maybe taking one ear to the bolster as you're looking out. Good. So come to your pose, using the breath. Breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. Of course, if this is painful if you're in your or too much discomfort in your ankles, your joint, then just draw the heels in a little bit closer towards each other. And if you're okay with that, the knees on the blanket, then you can also use a blanket onto the prop to prop you up a little bit more. Get a deep breath in. Exhale, release. Again, a deep breath in. Exhale, release. If one ear is down, taking the gaze in the opposite direction. Five more breaths here. Where can you ease the resistance? Where can you channel the breath? Allow the breath to flow freely within the body. Last breath here. Good. And then coming out is, we need to be really careful. So bring your hands down, gently draw the feet towards each other, press yourself up, and then bring the hips slightly forwards as we gently walk the knees underneath the hips. And just pause here in your tabletop for a moment. So just allow the spine to neutralise, allow the shifts, the adjustments within the hips to happen. Good. Then maybe a little puppy wag of the tail as we send the hips really gently side to side, not flinging or swinging the hips too much here, just a really gentle ease back into those hips. Good, and then come to sit down onto the heels. Release the props to the side. We're going to come onto our backs. So don't need the blocks anymore, but we need the bolster and the blanket. So keep those to hand. Okay, and the strap. So coming down onto your back, placing the bolster underneath the knees. Good. And then we're going to have the feet roughly hip width distance apart. Lift the hips and roll the bolster underneath the hips here. So you're almost in like a bridge position. And then lengthen the left leg along the mat. Just pause here. This may be enough for you. You can also draw the right knee in towards the chest. This is really lovely opening through the front left thigh. If you're feeling too much compression in the right hip, then you can bring the thigh slightly outside the rib cage. This just gives the joint a little bit more space. Breathing here. Left leg is soft, not forcing the body. Shoulders are soft, neck is soft. Good, and then release the right knee down, bend the left knee, and then change sides. Right leg lengthens out, pause here, and then hug the left knee in. If you hug the knee in the other side, maybe take it outside the rib cage so you've got more space. Breathing here through the thighs, the pelvis, wherever you're feeling it. Coming back to imagine you're filling a balloon up in those areas. And then the exhale softens, releases, surrenders. Good, and then release the left leg. And then preparing for, bend the right knee. So preparing for Shavasana. So you can either roll the bolster underneath the knees, allow the legs out long. If you're close to a wall, then you can take the legs up the wall. So find as much comfort as possible. And starting, if you're laying down with the legs and the arms in the position we started in. So the legs a little bit wider than hip width distance, the hands roughly mat's width distance with the palms facing up. Closing down the eyes, maybe putting a blanket underneath the head, on the body. Come to your relaxation. So find as much ease within the body, closing down the eyes, coming to a steady breath. And then we're going to take 3 deep breaths in, but the exhale we're going to release through the mouth. So as we inhale deeply, inhale. Release through the mouth. Inhale. One last time. Letting everything go. Finding that total ease. Allowing yourself to come to stillness. Giving yourself permission to release and let go. Self-observation without judgment. Release the harsh and pointed inner voice. It's just a throwback to the past and holds no truth about this moment. Let go of self-judgment, the old, learned ways of beating yourself up for each imagined inadequacy. Allow the dialogue within the mind to grow friendlier and quiet. Shift out of inner criticism and life suddenly looks very different. I can say this only because I make the choice 100 times a day to release the voice that refuses to acknowledge the real me. What's needed here isn't more prodding toward perfection, but intimacy, seeing clearly and embracing what I see. Love, not judgment, sows the seeds of tranquility and change. So I'm going to leave you here in your Shavasana. Stay as long as you need to, but it's always coming out mindfully and gently. So lovely to practice with you this evening. I'll be next back on the mat tomorrow at 7 a.m. for a vinyasa. Looking forward to seeing you all soon. Have a lovely evening. Namaste.